It's Wednesday night. You know what that means. It is the Wrestling Inc. podcast live for your listening and viewing pleasure to end the hump day of the work week. Hello, everybody. I am Justin LaBar here on the Wrestling Inc. podcast alongside my podcasting brother. He is north of the border in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. He is former WWE referee for more than 20 years, WrestleMania matches to his credit, and much, much more. He is the one and the only, the Zebra, Mr. Jimmy Korderas. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, JL. Welcome back to both of us, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just the two of us tonight.
Yep, just two of us. Issa, your Demon Diva, is under the weather, so we wish her the best. Hope she gets feeling better. Hope she gets feeling better as it's a big weekend of wrestling to come. Friday SmackDown tape, but still airing. But then, of course, Saturday, you have the big show in Saudi Arabia with Night of Champions and WWE, and of course, her Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar both in action. So she'll be, I'm sure, attentive to that. And then on Sunday, what we'll be talking about a lot here on this podcast, Double or Nothing, and followed by that is a Monday Night Raw. So a lot of wrestling. Of course, Wrestling Inc. is where you want to make sure you have your device bookmarked, news constantly, all day, every day being posted, as well as all the different podcasts going on after the fact. So no shortage of content for you to enjoy. Appreciate everybody who's starting to filter in on the live chat. If you're watching live on YouTube, on Twitch, on Facebook, on Twitter, and of course, to those of you checking out the audio after the fact, we appreciate you as well, wherever it might be that you are getting this podcast. And whenever, please shoot us a tweet. Let us know at Justin LaBar, at Jimmy Korderas. Where in the world are you, Carmen Sandiego? Where are you? What are you doing? How are we helping you procrastinate or get through your day? Always love to hear it. Always love to shout them out. Very, very cool. It brings us all together, Jimmy.
Absolutely. And that's the beauty about wrestling. It shouldn't divide people. It should not choosing sides. It should bring everyone together like it used to. And those that aren't into wrestling, well, you guys are missing out.
Yeah, that's one way to put it. All right, so before we get into Dynamite, and Jimmy, I guess because this will be the last time you and I will be on this podcast, at least. I don't know about you, but I'll probably end up giving my Night of Champions predictions maybe Friday on SiriusXM's Busted Open, but I don't think I'll end up giving my Double or Nothing predictions anywhere else. So I think as we go tonight through Dynamite and we kind of hit each match that they're trying to promote to, we can kind of give our predictions of what we think might transpire at the T-Mobile Arena in Vegas this Sunday. But before we get to that and the comings and goings of Dynamite, let's talk about something that happened inside of Dynamite that was the biggest piece of news coming out of tonight. It was long awaited, not necessarily a surprise, but certainly, as we've discussed and we will do now again, there was certainly scales to see what was going to be tipped which way, and that, of course, is AEW Collision. Last week, Tony Khan made it official that it was launching on TNT on June 17th, and he proceeded to note several of the cities that are going to be hitting early on, several of them up in Canada. But, of course, the big mystery was, where is the debut show? Long rumored to be in Chicago at the United Center, but that announcement put on pause last week. Again, much of the conversation about, is CM Punk set to return to AEW, having last been seen last September after the famous press conference and then brawl out incident that took place in the locker room. So, drum roll, Tony Khan tonight on a pre-tape backstage announcing AEW Collision will take place, debut in Chicago at the United Center on the 17th of June. So, Jimmy, I guess without advertising the man himself, you'd have to think that is all but confirming that CM Punk will be returning to AEW television, eh?
You would assume that, but you know what? I hate to be the guy that says don't assume, but at the same time, there was a backup plan in place, if I'm not mistaken, that if this agreement with CM Punk didn't take place, they were going to use an alternative venue for their debut show, if I'm not mistaken.
Daly's Place in Jacksonville, which they obviously they own, so they can just use
exactly. So the fact that they're going to Chicago does definitely put a big spotlight on the fact that maybe they did solve problems, but what would have been even better, you're making this a big announcement. Make the announcement that he is going to be there, because obviously he's a big attraction for this company right now. And there's a lot of talk and there's a lot of scuttlebutt about, is this going on? Who's he got issues with? Does the locker room want him there? All this backstage, pull the curtain back talk about what's going on, as opposed to, hey, I just want to see this guy. Why not put it out there and give it, promote it? Yes, I know it's almost, a little under a month away. It's a couple of weeks away, right?
About 3 weeks. 3 weeks.
Yeah, 3 weeks away, but still, put it out there and get some momentum going.
So I'm torn. I partially agree with you and I partially disagree. I'm torn. They announced this Chicago probably later than what they wanted because of what we've been talking about on these podcasts over the weeks. It seems like there was some, are we good? Are we not good with CM Punk and AEW? So I would imagine they wanted to announce Chicago probably weeks earlier. They probably wanted to announce Collision maybe weeks earlier. I would have to think, or at least if nothing else, announce Chicago last week to give themselves one more week. When they did the upfronts and made it public, they at least probably would have wanted to have the first episode location announced then. So I agree with you on the one hand of, get his name out there so you can move these tickets. And it's 3 weeks. I believe it is 3 weeks from this Saturday. Also, while the rumor and just the assumption that he's going to be there will probably sell to that Chicago audience, you do have the weeks that follow. So it's like if Punk is not going to be surfaced and onto television and be made official until June 17th, until it airs live that Saturday evening, well, then you can't tell Regina and all the other towns that they're going to in the following weeks, you can't tell them until the 17th, hey, you're going to see CM Punk. So it is going to make the rest of those other dates, not move tickets as fast. Mm-hmm. And I think we talked about it a couple of days ago on one of these podcasts, how out of the gate, the Collision tickets weren't moving too much. And we talked about it because there's nothing, you don't know who you're going to see. But the part I'll disagree though, Jimmy, is I will say this. Obviously, we've done this song and dance once where it was heavily believed Punk's going to be at that Rampage at the United Center 2 years ago. It was never confirmed. It was like the worst kept secret. And then they came on the air and they hit his music and the place went banana. So I could make the argument just to spice it up and just to not just do the same old thing. And because we all are there's still that doubt because there has been the controversy that's going on internally. It's kind of like, well, he's CM Punk. Anything could change. Like maybe the day before he has a blow up with somebody. And just because there's that guessing game, I would book this Collision if they are determined to not announce him ahead of time and make people tune in to see on that speculation. I would book it differently than how they did that Rampage 2 years ago. I would not have Punk out there to the end. I would have people waiting and wondering, going, well, last time they started out with him, or well, he could have shown up here. Oh man, we got 5 minutes left. He hasn't come out yet. And kick the show off with like a Chris Jericho. Kick the show off with the Bucks. Kick the show off with somebody who he has been in that rumor mill linked with some controversy, and kind of tease the audience throughout the night of, oh, I bet he's going to come out here and interrupt this person, and then save it for the. I mean, I think that would just be a creative way to hook this. If they're not going to announce him ahead of time, then that would be the way I would approach the night of.
Well, that's a good approach. Like you said, if they don't announce him ahead of time, but at the same time, you can't. If, in my opinion, it's a business, and you want to sell tickets, and you want, especially for the first episode of Collision, to look like a sold-out arena or as close to it as possible. And without confirming the fact that he's going to be there, and hopefully that he's thinking that people will assume that he's going to be there, it may not be enough. That's all I'm saying. So, but if they're content on making it a surprise, of course they'll get the reaction that they want. But will they get the audience numbers that they want?
Well, yeah, you're right. Punk will be if they go this approach and truly wait until the 17th to have him on their TV. That will be a very interesting immediate barometer again to see how big of a deal he still is from a ticket buying standpoint, because you'll be able to see, okay, here's how many tickets we have sold for the next 4 or 5 weeks for Collision. And then have him appear and then see what the tick is, see how much increase he provides. That will be an interesting a barometer to see. Is he, is especially going to, I think these are mostly fresh markets for AEW.
Right.
I don't think they've ran, Saskatchewan and some of these places. So, a lot to be watching here as we kick off the summer months for AEW. All right. So that was our big news that we got is Collision in United Center. And look, they're running Chicago a lot too, because then the Forbidden Doors, like I think not long. It was right around that same week too. So it's going to be a lot going on in Chicago for AEW. So again, can they sustain?
Mm-hmm.
Can they sustain? All right. One thing they sustained is kicking off Dynamite and having Orange Cassidy in the opening match. They didn't do it last week. We got to get back to basics here.
Right.
Your international champion, Orange Cassidy, up against Kyle Fletcher. He's from Aussie Open. You can see him in New Japan. They showed the clip a few weeks ago when he attacked Cassidy backstage, wanting a shot. So piecing together quickly the history in case you missed it. This match, Jimmy, they get a commercial, I believe, in the middle of it. A lot of bumping, which I appreciate, guys. They're working their ass off, but and I like this Kyle Fletcher. I liked his facial expressions. I thought he's real good telling emotion through his face, which I think sometimes in the fast-paced world of AEW that can get lost. Or not even just AEW, any wrestling that has that general style. Sometimes facial expressions can get overlooked, but I liked Kyle Fletcher's emotions. It ends up being a counter that Orange Cassidy counters as they're struggling. He gets a roll-up. So it's an Orange Cassidy victory via a roll-up. He defends the title. Kyle Fletcher is later announced. He and his partner, who I don't have his name right in front of me, I apologize, are all elite. So they are the newest signings to Tony Khan's ever-growing roster. Your thoughts on this opener and Kyle Fletcher, who we have not talked about a match yet on this podcast?
No, you know what? To be honest with you, I was enjoying the match. I love the pacing. I love the, like you said, the little things like the facial expressions, selling. The selling was good. They took their time. They made stuff mean stuff. The only thing is, look, I get it. You know, doing big moves and kicking out of these big moves, but we had, what was it? A super stunner into a devastating DDT for a false finish, which looked impressive. Then we had two tombstones that Fletcher hit on Orange, and he kicked out of them, and stuff like that.
And there was a Michinoku driver
off the ropes.
And
that for a 2 count. And then, the most devastating move in all of pro wrestling now seems to be the roll up. And it just doesn't connect for me. You lose me on that one after seeing all those devastating maneuvers. I joke about the twisting, burning 450 hammer Phoenix splash being a false finish and stuff like that. But that's what it's turned into. And the roll up is a finish, and I'm supposed to buy this. It just, they lost. Like, I was enjoying the match. They had me invested. Some of those kicking out of those finishes, I was like a little bit, oh, come on. But, and even then, after kicking out of those finishes, in my head, I'm going, I hope the finish is not a roll up of some sort. And guess what? Anyway, that's where they lost me, on the finish.
Well, and the AEW video game finally comes out at the end of June, and I want to see what the roll-up is rated on the scale of 2 100. Rocky saying the roll-up is a deadly finish, 200%. I'm with you. I think you and I are on the same wavelength there. I mean, I thought it, and the other thing too is it's even one thing. Okay, so if you're gonna do this match that these guys are really kicking out at 2 7/8 and kicking out of some amazing things. Okay, I'm not saying that match can't take place, but when you put it up as the opener, by the time you got to the main event, and this was the story for tonight, by the time you got to a main event, even commentary to a point is almost like desensitized. They're not popping and selling things as big verbally on the mic as they were an hour and 45 minutes ago, because it's already been out there. So it's almost like, if you want to book a match that's going to have that kind of like tenacity and, oh my God, can you believe he's still alive? Okay. But I would really let the show build to that. So, again, putting that as the opener, and I think an opener is important. I always say to you, and the opener is the next most important thing behind the finish. So you got to have a good open, but the good open does not need to have, the opening scene does not need to have the person get shot 45 times and still walking around. So
because it desensitizes the live audience there too, which affects its presentation on television, because when you get that loud reaction, as we see a lot with the AEW audience, live audience, they help make the show. With their reactions. Tonight they seemed a little at times desensitized.
Yeah, and people forget when you go to Dynamite, you're also getting a Rampage taping, so you're getting another hour's worth of content being filmed, and then whatever else they if they roll out some Ring of Honor stuff or whatever else. So but Kyle Fletcher, he is now all elite. So I do look forward to seeing a little bit more of him. He's in his mid-20s as I see him, and so I think he's got some potential. So we'll keep an eye on that. I believe I was popping up some free chats on the screen, so appreciate those. We had a super chat that we'll acknowledge. Terry Allen Jr. Terry asking me do my daughters watch wrestling? Well, only one daughter, and if she's in the room, she likes seeing some big high spots and some cool things like that. She is in all of the acrobatic aspect of it, but mostly her attention is if it's a wrestler that she's got to meet. If it's somebody that's that I brought her around or something, that's more exciting to her because it's seeing that person on television, which that's she's never seen anybody be on television, so that's
right.
That's the excitement for her. But thank you for the question, Terry. All right, we do see backstage. Good thing Renee Paquette is fast. She had to get out of there. She's interviewing Ricky Starks, and here comes Jay White and Juice Robinson, Bullet Club Gold, and they beat down Ricky Starks. What, does nobody want to come to help Ricky Starks? He's in a constant 2-on-1 with these guys every week, and nobody's coming to. I mean, is Ricky that isolated in a locker room?
It appears that way, anyway.
Yeah. So Bullet Club Gold and Ricky Starks still feuding here.
Yeah, it seems that way. The only issue I have is it seems to be too formulaic and happening too often, like the roll-up finish we were talking about, where there's an interview going on backstage and then there's an interruption and a physicality that happens. It happens far too often. So it's almost like every time they go backstage for an interview, you're expecting it.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. I get that you're trying to further this rivalry along, but at the same time, come up with something different.
Yeah, no, I can't argue with you there. Yeah, so I mean, I have to imagine that this is gonna. I mean, I got to think somebody's gonna help Ricky or what we're doing here, because I mean, he's had his we've seen him in the ring with these guys, and so we're still doing this. So, not much more to it other than them beating them down and then just cutting a promo, putting themselves over, putting Bullet Club Gold over. So we'll stay tuned and see. Maybe this is a feud that you could say, okay, this is going to be good for it. This is where Collision comes in handy, because we can get some more time to flush some things out like this that's been lingering around on Dynamite for some time now. All right, FTR's in the ring. They're cutting the promo. They're trying to be in and out and then say top guys out. It was spicy what they had to say. They first do put over kind of Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal, saying they've been outsmarted by them, but they shouldn't be surprised because these two guys politic their way everywhere they go. Talking about Jeff Jarrett broke 1,000 guitars, can't stay relevant, calls them TNA rejects at one point, saying the sun's luck's gonna run out on Sunday. And then Mark Briscoe comes out and he asks Dax about the power bomb or pile driver from weeks earlier. No shaking of hands, just slaps. But hey, Mark Briscoe also slaps Jeff Jarrett on the way out too. Mark Briscoe caught in the middle. Do you like it?
In a sense, I do, because he's not showing favoritism towards either side. If it looked like he was going to side with, I don't want to say side, but be anti-FTR because of the pile driver. But then he also showed that, hey, he has nothing but animosity towards, Jeff Jarrett and the other side as well. So I'm okay with it as long as it doesn't become the overlaying factor in the story, if you know what I mean. Yes, I get it. It's a big deal to have Briscoe as the special guest referee or special guest enforcer, whatever you want to call him, for this match. But at the same time, I don't want him being the story, even though he is involved as part of the story. If you get my meaning.
No, I do. Corey Pride, excuse me, Corey saying he's going to buy the pay-per-view for this match. So
interesting.
That is interesting. Actually, that's not me. I will tell you the match later when we get to it that has the most intrigue to me of talking me into the seat. Yeah, this is I love seeing FTR perform. I'm fans of theirs. I'm still. This match actually will do something to tell me how do I really feel about this Jeff Jarrett stable. This match will be interesting to me of what it accomplishes and what it does. Maybe will help me lean more definitively one way or the other of how I feel about Jarrett, Lethal, Sanye, and Satnam Singh. It was what it was. I'll be very interested to see what Mark Briscoe does. But like you said, I don't want that to I don't want the entire thing to be like, that'll have its moment in the match.
Right.
But don't let that be the only story that we're focusing on. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, busting out. I mean, talking about King of the Mountain, and you better call up Dixie Carter, and
yeah.
I mean, just
there's some shots fired over the bow. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a couple years ago we had AEW and TNA Impact appearing on each other's programming, and now we're taking shots at TNA's past. What do you think? I mean, obviously you worked at WWE through the Attitude Era and when the Monday Night Wars was going on. What do you make of especially like TNA? TNA, while they never were the number one company, you do have to acknowledge that if TNA did not exist in the last 20-something years, there's a lot of talent that the American audience doesn't get to start to fall in love with and build support of. So I always find it interesting that Impact's and TNA still gets some shots like this. I don't know.
It's funny because they're the ones that are still around too.
Yeah.
Like you said, and I think part of the reason why they're still around is they didn't look like they were trying to compete. They were doing their own thing. They concentrated on doing their, putting on their show, as opposed to saying, "Oh, we could do it better than these guys, and we could do it better than these guys," and stuff, and trying to make it, a revival of the Monday Night Wars, so to speak, kind of thing. They just did their own thing. They concentrated on what they were doing, and for lack of a better term, and people are going to read this wrong when I say it, stay in their lane.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just do your thing and do it as best you can, and it will get noticed eventually.
Yeah. Sadzilla super chat saying AEW really screwed up Briscoe. Could have been an easy W. That's a take, Jimmy. I mean, obviously Mark Briscoe had a ton of momentum. Sadly, right as his brother passed, and he gets that big shine on Dynamite, and gets really the entire wrestling world. He's front and center that week to the wrestling world and their condolences. Do you think AEW should have done more after that to run with that momentum, or would that have been cheap?
Yeah, see, that's the question. That's a fine line to walk. You got to be careful how you present it. And I think a lot of it has to do with Briscoe himself and what he feels comfortable doing.
Right.
Because it's his brother and he'd want to honor him as best he could. And does that mean, taking your time and doing it the right way? Or was the right way to take it, to do it then, so to speak. Yeah. It is a tough call. It's all how he feels comfortable and what he thinks is respectful.
All right. So for the match, Sunday, Double or Nothing, FTR versus Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett, Mark Briscoe, special guest referee. Give me your prediction as simple or as detailed as you'd like.
Now, very simple. I think FTR retains, and I think Mark Briscoe plays a hand in it, unintentionally maybe. But I think the heels, because they put over the heels and said, "You guys outsmarted us this time," kind of, so to speak. So I think they've got something up their sleeve. I think FTR wins.
I would agree with that language as well. Yeah, that you guys outsmarted us and this and that, and also, I mean, Mark Briscoe has to have a factor in the finish, but I don't. Kind of to the point right there of that super chat. I don't think much of the AEW audience wants to boo Mark Briscoe right now.
Right.
So trying to have him do something, trying to, like if he, he's not going to join Jarrett's group. I just don't think anybody's going to really jive with that right now. Right. So yeah, I'm going to say FTR retain as well, with maybe not Mark Briscoe hugging and kissing them, but not screwing them. Let's put it that way as a referee.
Precisely. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Renee's backstage with Sammy Guevara, and we're going to see more of Sammy in a bit. But basically, he's just saying he's not going to lie down to MJF. He's not taking any money. He's going to compete. Rich boy MJF cannot buy his way out of this one. So we'll just table that for what's coming later. We get a House Rules match. House Rules, 20 count out, no rope break. DQs are enforced. Opponents get to kind of pick particular stipulation, and this one is the House of Black up against AR Fox, Blake Christian, and Metalik, who I didn't even realize was wrestling for them. It used to be, of course, Grand Metalik on the WWE Cruiserweight show. What was it? 205 Live. And there's basically no tags necessarily needed in this match. Is how they went into this. I got to say, I liked it. It was slightly different than the last time. I really dug the lighting and the look. I thought that And WWE has tried this for years. They've tried with Bray Wyatt and they have had different characters. Sin Cara. They've tried different characters to have ambiance and special mood lighting for their match and their appearance. And there's always been debate of is it distracting? Is it whatever? I think this perfectly lit the talent so you could see them, but still had a horror ambience to it. I like that. So kudos to them for that one.
Definitely. And it added to the mood, especially on television. It came off very well on television. I can't speak how it felt in the arena, but I'm sure the audience there felt it as well.
Yeah, it looks great on television. Now, maybe the 10,000 people there were blinded by certain lights. I don't know.
Right.
But
it did look good.
Yeah, it looked good, and the finish looked good. This was a triple play, a hat trick, whatever you want it to be, of simultaneous submissions by all three House of Black members. So House of Black finally getting some consistency in the booking.
Yeah, exactly. And you can call it whatever the stipulation was as house rules, whatever. Yeah. What was it called?
House rules.
House rules match. Yeah. 20 count. It's the funny thing is, though, I could have swore a while back I heard that the rules in AEW were a 20 count on the outside, not a 10 count. I don't remember them recalling it back. But anyways,
we've talked about this before. Nobody's quite sure. There was, and I know you mentioned Hebner too had some. It's been. There was debate of I think there was random debate of early on in AEW title matches it's 20, other matches it's 10, but they never really gave us true clarity to that.
And it was a lot going on at times. It was kind of tough to we're trying to figure out exactly what to follow, but then and then at other times it made sense. I don't know. It was all over the place, and then it wasn't.
Yeah, I think you look back to, I think that was also in the early days of AEW in their infancy still. They were still just trying to figure out, and that was across the board. You would see some gimmicks, some storylines that were rolled out for a few weeks and then just disappeared. And, I think that was part of the early growing pains of the company doing a weekly show and trying to settle on, what rules are what rules from, hey, some of our audience likes New Japan style. What rules are we taking from that? Whatever. I think they had to figure out what's going to work. And I think generally, you're just better off just not applying the count out, which they do oftentimes, and trying to have a referee sell a 20 count, because then that just gets laborious.
Right.
All right, MJF comes out. It's time to do the hard sell. We did get some pre-tape promos throughout the night. Jungle Boy gives a babyface rah-rah speech. Nothing really was said. This is the segment that truly matters, so this is the one we'll touch on.
Right.
MJF coming out to do the hard sell for his fatal four-way title match, where of course he can lose by not even being involved in the decision. As it comes out, he tosses water on Tony Schiavone's face. He cuts up on all three opponents, mocking them, and then he actually puts them over, talking about all four being homegrown and this and that. He says they are AEW. He says, but frankly, he's tired of that. He's bored there in AEW, and of course reminds everybody and that Tony Khan knows that his contract is coming up. And how coincidental is it that I'm in a match where I could lose my title and not even be pinned? Out comes Darby. Darby says he used to play it safe in life, but then eventually he stopped. He moved to Atlanta, is living out of his car to make it in pro wrestling, and AEW came along and saved his life and made his dreams come true. He says he wants to be the face of AEW, and he's going to take that world title. To do so, MJF kicks him low, and then Sammy Guevara comes out, runs MJF off, and as MJF is running off, Jungle Boy then hits him with a clothesline on the ramp. So everybody getting some FaceTime here in this segment in front of the crowd. Takes because this obviously is one of the big things that they are advertising and might be their main event that finishes the show. I don't know. Thoughts on this segment first before we get into our predictions?
No, it was a fun segment. It kind of helped generate a little more interest in that main event. But my only issue is, yes, I like the fact that MJF, the natural heel, put over the baby faces to a certain extent. But then, of course, mention how much better he was than all of them anyways. But, that's what you get from that kind of a heel. And he did a good job of that. The only issue I have is going into this match on Sunday. Do I actually, yes, there is the possibility that somebody else could come out as champion, because MJF doesn't have to get pinned, but at the same time, can you see any of the other three guys right now being that guy to hold that title, to be the face of that company? That's my issue. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, as we've been talking about, I think I noted the betting odds a few weeks ago that, in theory, this is supposed to be the odds are stacked against MJF because he's got 3 opponents. But I said the actual betting line and odds had gave the other 3 no chance. Darby Allin had the highest chance, and it was minimal. Right. So yeah, and that's why I question: does this finish a show? If I don't think we're alone with this. I think I think people will enjoy the match for what it could be. And right. I mean, of course, there's triple threats and fatal fours are tough matches for talent to do. There's a lot of, things that have to be kind of accounted for. Right. But if done right, there's a lot of potential. So I think fans will enjoy it, but I don't think anybody's nobody's going to be shocked when MJF likely retains it. So is that a big enough finish for this grand show? Right. Unless somebody attacks him afterwards, unless the CM Punk emerges, unless something like that happens, I would really, if I'm Tony Khan, question on putting this live. Maybe I even kick the show off with it. I don't know. I mean, but yeah, I don't think anybody believes that any of these other pillars are about to stop this run that MJF is on. That's just putting it out there.
No, I agree. I totally agree.
So, so we both agree MJF probably retaining this at Double or Nothing. What's after that? Big question, because again, you have the split of Collision. Is MJF going to be on both shows? Is he just going to be on one show? Is he at Forbidden Door? Do we start to build and find his opponent for the Wembley show? I mean, so that I'm looking past this fatal four. That's my interest with MJF.
Right.
All right. We get a brief pre-tape of Wardlow and Arn Anderson kind of mocking the fact that Christian Cage thinks that he is, one-upping them by making this a ladder match just because Christian helped make ladders famous. And Wardlow and Arn just saying, imagine what Wardlow's going to do when he's got the weapon of a ladder to use. So very quick, that's all we heard of for this match tonight. Did not hear from Christian or Luchasaurus. So let's go ahead and make our predictions now. Jimmy, does your fellow Canadian take the TNT title from Wardlow?
To be honest with you, they've dropped the ball with Wardlow for long enough. I hope he doesn't. And no offense to my fellow Canadian Christian, maybe Luchasaurus ends up accidentally costing him, or maybe not even accidentally costing. Maybe he's upset that he didn't get the title opportunity, and Christian is looking for his help, and at some point, and it looks like he gets it, but he doesn't. And in a change of heart, so to speak, Luchasaurus decides to cost Christian the championship. But then again, winning in that fashion for Wardlow doesn't help him either.
Yeah. I think that's where I was going to counter to you too, is that just makes Wardlow look less than. So I would hope Christian's doing all of this, saying, look, let's use the gimmick I helped make famous. Let's do all this so I can help put you over. I would hope Wardlow goes over, and then maybe post-match, or maybe not even post-match. Let it breathe. Let us all just remember. Actually, I'm going to say this right now. Nothing happens that night. Just let Wardlow beat Christian. Let everybody just think about that for the next couple of days. Let that be the parade we have. But then on Dynamite, have Christian attack or berate Luchasaurus and say, where were you? Why weren't you where you're supposed to be in that situation? What do you think I let you hang around me for? What do you think I pay you for? Whatever the case would be. Yeah. I think that would be a better way to go.
Okay. Yeah. The only thing you can do one little thing at the pay-per-view is Christian, maybe Luchasaurus is in the vicinity looking at him and going, come and help. And Luchasaurus just standing there watching. That's it.
Giving you a reason to kind of cliffhanger, like, oh, I want to see them on Dynamite now. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Danny saying Wardlow should lose and then go after MJF.
Nah.
Not right now. They should have another match. They really didn't get to pay off a long-standing storyline of Wardlow as the bodyguard, but not right now. Or at least not in the fashion of Wardlow dropping the title just to go work with MJF. I think, especially with Collision launching on TNT, if they are going to, split any bit of the roster, it would certainly make sense to have the TNT champion as a regular on Collision then. So
Right.
that could be his show to kind of dominate. Especially if he could be the highest ranking title holder that's a male. You know, Jade's for now the TBS champion, so she can remain on Dynamite on TBS, and let MJF remain, or whoever the world champion is, remain on Dynamite again, just to give Collision and Wardlow and that TNT title some extra cachet. That, you know, this is the highest ranking thing that the biggest prize we fight for here on Saturdays.
Could very well be, yeah.
All right, we get Taya Valkyrie up against Lady Frost, one here from the Pittsburgh area. So good to see her getting that TV time. This is all about Taya Valkyrie, though, on her path to Jade Cargill. Jade and company watching from the top of the ramp. Jade, I believe they said is 60-0. I think it's 60 wins now. So arguably, I would have to say, though, Jimmy, this match that she's going to have this Sunday with Taya, the biggest challenge and the most believable threat to Jade Cargill, would you say?
Yeah, the only thing is, and no disrespect here in this match to Lady Frost, but I thought Taya Valkyrie, although Lady Frost did get some offense in, which is fine, you know what I mean? But Taya Valkyrie needed to look even more dominant than she looked tonight. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And I think she took too long to defeat Lady Frost. She should have been a little more dominant and beat her in quicker fashion, just to make it look that much more intimidating for Jade to start, maybe see that look on Jade's face where she's going, you know, not scared or anything like that, but, you know, more along the lines of, hey, I better take this a little more seriously, kind of thing.
Yeah, I agree. I wonder. I thought too. I was surprised Lady Frost got as much as she did. I was surprised the match got as much time. I wondered, is this a TV formatting thing? I don't know, like when they were putting the pieces together, did they, I don't know, did they just say, look, this match is going to have to go a certain distance. We're going to have to put a commercial in there. And so therefore, you know, that's too long of a squash.
Right.
But I do agree, for the go home show for the babyface who's supposed to be maybe the biggest credible challenger to this undefeated champion. It did take her more work to beat even the presentation of the fact that, because I knew Lady Frost was, you know, she's, again, like I said, she's local, so I've been seeing things here locally of people supporting her on social.
Right.
So I knew she was on the card tonight. Right. When Taya came out, and Taya's entrance, of course, was on TV, I thought for sure, okay, Frost is waiting in the ring. She got the proverbial jobber entrance, you know, not on TV. And no, she came out second and got a full on entrance with music, and I was like, whoa, like. Making her debut and getting, you know, I thought that was pretty, you know, surprising. And then when we see the whole match, it kind of you know. So we'll see. Yeah, Lady Frost, they did show a clip, had an awesome match on ROH. So getting the reps in front of the crowd. Orange saying long-winded answers. Well, Orange, when you do podcasts and talk shows, one sentence response tend not to be too interesting or provoke much conversation. So. But it's okay. I'm the professional here. You're not. Thank
you.
Indeed. All right. Maybe one of my favorite, but also most surprising segments of the entire night, and that is the contract signing between Adam Cole and Chris Jericho. Adam Cole's out there with Roderick Strong. Chris Jericho's got all of the JAS out there. Tony Schiavone moderating. They all agreed to no touching, no physicality. Cole quickly signs. He proceeds to, you know, he at first he doesn't know why Chris Jericho did what he did by handcuffing him weeks ago and attacking Brett, but then he realizes it's because Chris Jericho thinks he's invincible, thinks he can get away with anything. Well, we'll see how he walks when I break your legs. We'll see how you write when I break your hand. We'll see how you talk when I shatter your jaw. All these fighting words, and then Jericho just poking at him a little bit more, shows the clip once again, and proceeds to say, look, you're such a coward. Look what happened to your girlfriend, all because of you. They start to get in each other's face. Jericho noting it's 5-on-2, and Adam Cole said, yeah, I thought ahead about that. I know that you play the numbers game. Well, I called upon somebody who lives right here in Vegas. Homicidal, suicidal, genocidal, ECW legend, Sabu. Didn't have that on your bingo card tonight, did you, Jimmy? As here comes Sabu in a suit. And he's out there, and he does what Sabu does best. He launches a chair into somebody's face. Where do you want to start with that?
Oh, I don't know where to begin with this one because, for like you said, I love being surprised in a good way. And Sabu coming out kind of got me going. Instead of making me pop, it made me go, Sabu.
Yeah.
Why Sabu? I get it. He's an ECW legend, and he is homicidal, genocidal, suicide, whatever the saying goes. But at the same time, even the crowd kind of popped, but didn't. They were kind of like, "Oh yeah, Sabu," but you could almost hear him go, "Why Sabu?
Why Sabu?" I know.
You know what I mean? So it didn't get the response that maybe they were hoping for, but I don't know. And again, we'll see how well he can go at the pay-per-view.
Yeah, they listed him as the announcers kept saying he's in the corner of Adam Cole. Then the graphic they show when they're doing the hard sell running down the card, it says Sabu's a special enforcer. So I don't know if they quite know exactly what he is. Yeah, it's tricky. I tried to just lose myself in the moment and just, that's cool, Sabu. This is this surprise was not spoiled or out there anywhere on the internet. This is a genuine surprise. But then, yeah, I'm just like, all right, Panama City Sunrise guy, Adam Cole. When is he hanging out with Sabu?
Right.
You do start to think like, I don't know. And then that's when then you dig deeper into it, which is what we're here to do, I guess. And it's obviously Tony Khan, very well documented, loved the original ECW. So it's like, is this a chance? Is this Tony playing with his toys? Right. Was this needed in this spot, Sabu? Right. But hey, Sabu aside, the animosity, the tension, the just seeing the match, which I've never seen those two in a match, Adam Cole and Chris Jericho. This would be the one that most makes me open up my wallet for the show. This to me, to see Adam Cole first time back in the ring in almost a year, the story they've been telling. Exactly. Sabu's a little bit of an intrigue now. Okay, what's Sabu going to do? And because I think that I think Adam Cole is maybe if he's not the next one, I think he's in the line of being the best, credible, interesting challenger for MJF.
No, I totally agree with that. And like you said, what they did here with the contract signing, without getting into the physicality of it, like you expect it to break down into, is the promo, I guess, for lack of a better term, that Adam Cole cut was incredible. And Jericho is just, he knows what to do all the time. It's just he's just a master at this point at getting people involved with the intrigue. I like the fact that they got you back interested in this thing, and I just I just question the Sabu addition to this because why Sabu? It just feels out of place. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, he started saying he lives here in Vegas. I'll be honest, when he first said, because what was he first say? He first said, I knew it. We knew he's talking about having backup and called somebody. And then he said somebody that lives in Vegas.
Right.
And my mind immediately went to Mike Tyson. My mind went to, we're in Vegas, wrestling fan. I think he had said, I can't remember if he said it before or after lives here in Vegas, a guy I grew up watching, which Adam Cole and I are the same age. We grew up watching Mike Tyson, pay-per-view. So my mind went to like Mike Tyson is like coming out here, and then Tyson and Jericho have a history if I do recall. So like that like all really quick, all that stuff flashed really, really quick. And then all the more Sabu. But we'll see. Adam Cole goes over against Chris Jericho, or does Chris Jericho find some dirty way to win?
I think that you can prolong this a little bit longer, and I think Chris Jericho will probably go over in some form or fashion in true heel fashion, but still do it in a way that Adam Cole looks like he got totally robbed.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Adam Cole gets the victory here. I think his first match back, I think it's important to get a win, and important to get a win over Jericho. And again, I don't know if it'll be next, but I think from this point moving forward, Adam Cole needs to. I don't think he should be looking up at the lights at all. Any losses he has in a match should be via tag match or something like that, where he doesn't get the pin. I think again, Adam Cole, keep the momentum, don't screw it up. He could be a credible top of the card world title.
Unless Sabu plays a part in this and goes to throw fire and Jericho ducks or something like that. You get a little. I don't know. There's ways to do it, I guess.
Yeah. Well, if they do that, then we got to see Sabu versus Adam Cole. I don't know if 58-year-old Sabu is getting ready to go out and, talk
He's
about
that young?
I don't think he's 60.
No, I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, but like talk about having expectation. If Sabu has a match, everybody has an expectation what that match is going to be. I don't think Sabu's doing that match anymore.
Right.
I don't care how much. I don't care how big the check is. Tony Khan writes.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, Roderick Strong. They ends up just transitioning to that after commercial. Roderick Strong takes on Daniel Garcia. Roddy hits his finish and gets a win. So Roderick Strong coming in several weeks ago. Excuse me. And has not looked weak. They have kept Roderick Strong on the forefront of their Dynamite booking over the past month. Were you surprised with this result between him and Daniel Garcia?
No, not really. And I enjoyed the match. I thought they had a heck of a match. Both guys worked really hard, and they're building up Roderick Strong as a. I don't know if he's, going to be more than just Adam Cole's partner or sidekick or anything like that. But, this was definitely a huge step forward. And Daniel Garcia didn't need this win. Let's put it that way. Yeah. Not at this time.
No, I'd agree with that. Yeah, Roddy looking good. So I don't know if it's just by association of he's hanging around Adam Cole, and we can't have Adam Cole hanging around somebody that doesn't look good. I don't know, but good for Roddy in this stage of his 20+ year career. All right, well, we get the main event of the night. It's a little odd, but there is sense to be made, kind of it. The execution was funny. So we have a Ring of Honor tag team title match. Now, we knew this match would be coming because several weeks ago on Dynamite, this match got set up because of the I forget what they called it, but it was the case of the fact that Claudio won. He got the challenge for the Lucha Brothers tag titles in ROH. So that's our match. And now, again, it makes sense. You get Blackpool Combat Club out there. You figure this is going to lead to a brouhaha with the Elite and their big Anarchy in the Arena match. It kind of does, but kind of doesn't. The Young Bucks appear, and they end up preventing Claudio from getting in the ring, which lets Penta and Phoenix get the win. Lucha Brothers retain their ROH tag team titles, and then the Bucks run off into the crowd. Eventually, Bryan Danielson comes down from commentary. Moxley appears, who he wasn't out there the whole time at all. And then there's no physicality. It's just the Bucks in the crowd, and then Moxley grabbing the promo and hyping that this is going to be the bloodiest and most dangerous and make you squirm violent match ever in the history of AEW, which, that's a bar to exceed. So they do like a little promo to go sell, but I really thought they would end with the physicality, but I guess they figure they've done as much physicality as they need to in all the weeks building, all the months building, really, that we'll just talk people here for the final few minutes. I don't know. It was a choice. I'm still not sure how I feel about it, but this Anarchy in the Arena match with these two teams, given the situation of where we're at now, is this an attraction for you at Double or Nothing?
Just out of curiosity, it is an attraction, but at the same time, here's my thoughts. It's kind of sounds like I'm getting away from what you're asking me, but at the same time, it's all of it all together. Why did the ROH tag team title match have to main event and the AEW show? Yes, I get you're trying to put the ROH brand over, but you can do that earlier in the show and end the show with something that seemed more important, like the MJF interaction with the Four Pillars. If you put that on last, that makes it feel like the most important thing that's going on at the pay-per-view. Maybe you get people more interested in this match. But at the same time, it just makes me feel like this is the priority right now, is this Anarchy in the Arena match for them. This is what they're promoting most heavily.
Well, and to my questions earlier about how I said, I don't know if the world title match with MJF, if it's got enough predictability and whatever to anchor and headline the show. Maybe this is the clue, that the fact they ended at Dynamite with this tonight, that they are going to end with the Anarchy in the Arena.
Can you imagine if they ended the show tonight with the way they ended that segment, with Jungle Boy holding the AEW World Heavyweight Championship and go off the air like that? That I think would have people talking more, in my opinion. But anyways, and getting people thinking, interesting.
It might, but I would say that it would then be kind of weird if they did that. It's like, okay, well, now you're really committed. You got to put that title match last in Double or Nothing. And again, I just don't know if that's a strong ending. So it would be weird if they ended Dynamite with that with what you're suggesting, with Jungle Boy doing that. But then if they put it anywhere else on the card Sunday, then it looks, I don't know. Double or Nothing is intriguing for several reasons, but not all of them the reasons I think they intended it to be.
Right.
Like I said, Cole, Jericho, absolutely. Wardlow, Christian, absolutely. To see MJF perform in the X's and O's of that match, intriguing, but not seeing any kind of a surprise finish. Jamie Hayter is also taking on Tony Storm. That's one that we didn't really get to talk about. They just kind of briefly did a quick video on that. I think Hayter holds on to it. I think
so too.
But she did have an injury recently, and they seem to really be pushing this whole Outcast thing. So I think, but I'm not gonna place any bets on that one.
Another heel champion.
Well, yeah, that would be true. Yes. So that was Dynamite tonight. So Double or Nothing going into Sunday again. This is where it all started. That's their first big show that kicked AEW all off. I think that it's definitely not the biggest Double or Nothing on paper that they've had in recent years since its inception. Maybe the performance can surpass it. I think having the debut of Collision in a couple weeks and all the controversy and intrigue surrounding that, plus Forbidden Door, plus the big show in Wembley, I think it's almost kind of made Double or Nothing just kind of a little bit in the way, so to speak.
Yeah, especially like you said with the Wembley show and how it's taken off so far. That it just feels like a bigger deal.
Yeah, it does. It really does.
It absolutely does.
Corey asking, take the strap off of Jade. No, I wouldn't. I mean, they've gone. They've gone this long with her and 60 wins, and I assume that she's training and constantly improving when we're not seeing her on TV or what have you. So I think Ty is the biggest threat to her so far. So this might be this is the biggest challenge for Jade, both in storyline and in real life, to show up. But I think that you need an even bigger, more higher marquee deal for Jade of a match for it to even be considered the one that she gets dethroned. I know when it started, I thought, oh, this is going to lead to her and Britt Baker down the line or something like that. But I think you really need to build to something like that. This is kind of, it's on the card, but it's on the bottom third of the card. Right. I think it would need to be a little bit higher up, and really have you second guessing. Is this finally the time? Are we finally going to see it?
Yeah. So no, I hear you.
For somebody who gets compared by big AEW fans, as Jade's run gets compared to Goldberg's run and stuff like that. I was there in DC at that Starrcade when Goldberg lost that title at it, and you felt it in the air in the days and that day leading up that I think this might finally be it. So you kind of felt like the magic was wearing off.
You threw that name out there, and it made me think if Adam Cole said he called somebody on the phone, not necessarily living in Vegas, and it ended up being Goldberg coming out, what kind of a reaction do you think that would have got if it was Goldberg instead of Sabu?
If it was Goldberg, we would still be on Super Chats talking. We wouldn't have even gotten through half the show yet.
There you go.
That's what that would have been.
Man, I'm just saying.
Well, look, as you say that, and this is kind of a fun way to end the show here, so we'll wrap it up. As you say that, I'm still in strong belief that sooner than later we will see we will see Goldberg in an AEW ring, and that Wembley show might be a place to be. So, as we just went through all these predictions of what happens this Sunday, and then we're trying to figure out, okay, where do these stories and these characters go after that, and into this line of shows that we just talked about this summer. I think keeping a fantasy booking spot of where Goldberg could be inserted is realistic. I really do. But based upon the comments that he's made recently, and he still feels like he has more to offer, and apparently it's not going to be with WWE. Right. The only other place that can afford him and it's also going to give him the platform that he wants is AEW.
Exactly.
So
exactly. Again, good. This is the wrestling business for Goldberg.
Look, part of me loves the idea of a Wardlow versus Goldberg, and Goldberg doing the old time honor tradition thing, and going out, if it is a retirement match, going out and putting over a young guy. But I can also see Tony Khan not wanting to book Goldberg as on the heel side of things, and even if the crowd buys it, so maybe it's you put Goldberg in a tag match where he's protected and doesn't have to do as much. Maybe it's next to a Wardlow. If Wardlow looks like a young Goldberg, maybe you put him with Goldberg, and then you find a really good tag team to have him again. You know, but any which way you want to spin it, I think that sooner than later we're going to see Goldberg. Goldberg's going to be all elite sooner than later, if for nothing else, for one big match.
There you go.
So we'll see. Again, as we promoted at the beginning, and I close with this: tweet us, let me know your predictions for Double Nothing. Let us know what you agree or disagree with what we said. Let us know, is Goldberg going to be coming to AEW soon? How would you book CM Punk at Collision? All the things are fair game that we talked about. Love to hear your feedback and your ideas. Tweet me at Justin LaBar. He's at Jimmy Korderas. Again, busy week on the Wrestling Inc. channel. I, unfortunately, though, will not be back with you until Monday. I think Jimmy will be with you Saturday after Night of Champions. Don't know who else is going to be rounding out the cast, but it's sure to be good. They're all good. But yeah, constantly make sure you hit subscribe, follow, whatever the platform calls for that you enjoy this podcast. Do that. Make sure you don't miss a single episode that drops here on Wrestling Inc. almost every single day. Then, God, with Collision being added soon, I think it is going to be every day. So much content, so much good stuff to talk about. What a world and what a time we are living in. Jimmy, give me the plugs.
Like you said, on here Mondays, it's Triple J with you and Jack, and then usually on Wednesdays here we have Issa with us, and tonight, unfortunately, hope you get well soon, hon. All right, and you can catch me on the Reffing It Up podcast with my good brother in stripes, Brian Hebner, that drops every Wednesday with our host, RJ, who does a wonderful job. And this week we have a nice conversation and chat with none other than Raj Giri. Joined us to talk about the Wrestling Inc. website and the origins of it and that sort of stuff. And also you can catch me doing my ref and rants on all my social media platforms from Monday to Wednesday. And like I say, I critique not to tear down, but to help tighten screws, in my opinion.
Yeah. Very good stuff. I realize actually there is a super chat that I did not get to. I apologize, Sadzilla, that snuck through the cracks. He's talking about back when MJF was putting over the pillars in that promo. He said that MJF did a better job putting them over than AEW. Interesting. He said especially after the Jungle Boy versus Roosh match. So, all right. So some hot takes to close the show out from the super chat. He's at Jimmy Korderas. I'm at Justin LaBar. Catch me again, I believe, this Friday morning, Busted Open Radio, Spar with LaBar, myself, Dave LaGreca, and Thunder Rosa. I believe I will be giving my Night of Champions predictions there, and then I'll be back on Monday night with Triple J as we talk about what should be a very interesting Raw, because it'll be the Raw with all the fallout from Night of Champions. Right. So certainly going to be no shortage of things to talk about on that night, and whatever other news has dropped by then. Big thanks to all of you in the chat, whether it was just a chat or a super chat or whatever the case may be. Tell a friend about this podcast. You tell a friend, they tell a friend. This all grows. It's all good. Thank you. Thank you to Jimmy again. Get well to Issa. And I hope everybody has a great night, and we will talk to you